It's David Keith, who wants to spray our children. And there you go. Mainstream news, Vancouver, BC, Canada, January 1st, 2013. The year of disclosure, perhaps. Who are we to block the sun? And here we go with the topic. A record loss of Arctic sea ice and faster than expected melting of Greenland's ice cap may make worldwide headlines in 2012, but research published in a major science journal suggests that warming in the north does not have to continue from 2013 on. Scientists theorize injecting reflective particles of some kind into the high atmosphere could reduce the amount of sunlight reaching the Earth's surface and compensate for the greenhouse effect. This is by the Canadian Press now. So, theorize injecting reflective particles via jets and aircraft, as they've stated in other documents, and they've been doing in Vancouver for 3.5–4 years on a full-scale experimental basis. Ethical question, really hard questions here, but mostly are technical. They're questions about what kind of planet we want and who we are. David Keith, Calgarian and professor of applied physics at Harvard University. Keith said that a significant nation in the world has the technological capacity to facilitate a drop in the Earth's temperature, and he wants to spray your children with aluminum, barium, silica, sulfur, and other chemical compounds that most people see coming from the jets and creating huge contrails, which are actually been called chemtrails, and now all the chemtrail people are pretty much on the ball, and all those people, like the pilots that are covering it up and denying it, are looking like the idiots and child level education they have. Save it for emergency. Cooling the Earth could be a bad idea in a world that seems unable to come to grips with carbon dioxide emissions driving climate change. Not a fact that's been proven. Manipulating the Earth's climate to cool it down has some calling geoengineering a bad idea. The professor behind the idea, David Keith, Canada's satanic sprayer, believes the emissions should be cut and that he doesn't advocate such a plan, at least not yet. He suggested geoengineering may be a viable response to climate emergency in a sudden collapse of ice sheets or killing drought, or creating a drought and sucking up all the moisture and preventing rain clouds from forming, starving out millions of people across the planet by diverting rainfall. So David Keith, this scumbag, and being paid millions of dollars and has money from the Gates Foundation and everything else, and is probably living life pretty large, yet thinks he has the knowledge and the skill to manipulate the planet's atmosphere. The UN has ruled out geoengineering, but they won't stop the jets from spraying over cities like Vancouver. Peter Mooney of the Ottawa-based and foundation-funded group, ETC Group, an environmental technology watchdog, is skeptical of anybody's ability to manage the geoengineering. And that's good, but at the same time, Peter Mooney has some questionable funding behind him. The governments who screwed up in the first place can't be expected to take something like planetary systems management and do a better job of it, he said. And despite the fact that Libby Davies of the NDP in Vancouver, who voted to bomb Libya and kill hundreds, if not thousands, of children and women, did a show on chemtrails many years ago in '99, and now will not even discuss the issue, despite the fact her riding is being sprayed on a weekly, if not monthly basis by multiple jets that have no markings and fly across paths of commercial airliners, causing serious risks to safety of public, at the same time creating pollution that covers the sky and eventually drifts into our watershed and into our lungs in Vancouver. So if you take a look at what they've done today, we've got the Wellsback effect rippling that you find in geoengineering patents. We've got the wispy clouds that have resulted from the contrails being dispersed that are full of chemicals. We've got the small spot plane that is usually seen diverted underneath the chemtrails because jets are not flying the route today to YVR up East Vancouver's Adanac Street, and they won't disturb it, so they will prevent the breakdown of this sunshade that's been created. So there you go, mainstream newspaper. Who are we to block the sun? And it should say actually not who are we, but who are the corporations to think they can block the sun, and the governments and the ridiculous politicians that actually think that they're doing a job when they're actually just covering up for corporate companies and their irresponsible destruction of the environment. As well as this guy, David Keith in Calgary, who's also an advocate of destroying the environment. So there you go. Who are we to block the sun, or who is Monsanto and the government to block the sun without a public referendum? Geoengineering, reality, not a fallacy, not a fake reality, but a truth. And to all those pilots at Air Canada and stuff, you guys are scumbags for not mentioning this and letting your children breathe it.